Hi, my name's Kim. I'm coming to you live from my car with just a quick story about why we drive on the sides of the road that we do in different parts of the world. If you know me, you know that through my late 20s, I spent a lot of time traveling between the US and Asia for work purposes. I remember one trip in particular where I had started out in Hong Kong, where they have British driving rules. So the taxi cab driver was seated on the right side of the vehicle, and we were driving on the left side of the road. Within about 20 minutes, I was in mainland China and in another taxi cab where the driver was seated on the left side of the vehicle, as you see here, and we were driving on the right side of the road, as you would in America. Now, I'm left-handed, ambidextrous, so anytime there's a change in direction like that, it takes me a second to get my mind wrapped around it, and I also find it incredibly interesting. So, these last couple days, I did some research as to why this is. One thing that overarches the entire theme, if you are walking down a trail, driving down a road, doing any sort of travel, the best place to be is as close to the center of the road or trail as possible, because this will always give you the best vantage point of the terrain and any obstacles that are coming up in your path. So, with that in mind, going back all the way through the Middle Ages in Europe, maybe even Roman times, walking along these paths, your biggest concern would be to stay in the center, of course. But second to that is making the decision of what happens when there's an obstacle or another person that you're getting ready to pass, right? Which side do you pass on? In centuries of European history, you would pass on the left side. And here's why. Because there's a chance that this obstacle or this person is going to be dangerous. Maybe they might want to try to rob you or kill you, in which case you would want to pass on the left because you need your right hand to be able to get out your sword, protect yourself, stab something. Maybe this is a dagger. Maybe it's a cudgel. Maybe it's a paper towel roll. We still don't know. But this became common practice for years and years. Even if you go back to the very Latin terms for right-handed and left-handed, if you are right-handed, you are known as dexter. If you are left-handed, you are sinister. Now, you can imagine just coming across someone, a fellow traveler on the road, who uses their left hand with a sword. They might be walking on the wrong side of the road. They might try to pass you in the reverse way that you would normally pass someone else. And I can understand that this would cause probably some confusion and a lot of trouble, particularly as horses became more broadly used and technology developed to the point where transportation was done by carts. If you had a lefty riding on the wrong side of the road, there were going to be problems. And this is just a theory of mine. Maybe at some point, left-handed people learned to ride on the left side of the road. In which case, if the obstacle or person they did encounter was dangerous, they would have to draw their sword this way and either attack something across their body or turn around or something. Maybe some lefties didn't make it out of these situations, and as a result, the progenitors that would compromise the gene pool of us lefties might be a hair smaller. Just saying. No actual proof. Contrast this method of transportation in Europe with that of frontier colonial type areas. America, for example, parts of Asia, other things like that. Not to say that traveling wasn't dangerous at the time. It still was. It was just that danger didn't come from, the passerby primarily. It could come from anywhere. The obstacles were a lot less predictable. So, in America, it became the fashion, and this is quite logical, of course, for the driver of any sort of carriage to be sitting on the left side of the vehicle and staying generally to the right, because of course you always want to be in that center position. Here's why. Here's why they made the change. It became more important that the driver be able to use his dexterous right hand for whipping the horses to go faster and to have some sort of rein control. That's all. So, the systems of driving, especially when automobiles began to become more and more popular, was never really finalized. There were a lot of gray areas, a lot of accidents, not a lot of laws in place for probably half the time the automobile has been in frequent use. It wasn't until even the 1970s in America that there was finally a standardized system for lane markings, road signs, laws, things like that. In my heart of hearts, I believe that that's why the change sort of happened in the 1970s in the US, that it was okay to be left-handed all of a sudden because we had proven to you that we could correctly follow traffic laws, drive on a side of the road that probably didn't make sense to us. We were able to achieve that, so you trusted us to maintain our left-handedness. And that, friends, is why you drive on the side of the road that you do. Thanks.